Hey everyone, it's your boy Blood Wizard Y.A and I'm back with a new gameplay, and in this gameplay I'm gonna talk about 10 games that made people break their controllers. I had some research in the gaming history to find some of the favorite examples of games that tend to wreck your stuff, whether it's the buttons that will never push the same or analog sticks that are ready to break off. Without any further, let's jump now to the list. Number 10 on the list is the NINGA GAIDEN. The game was so difficult that it was released later under the title NINGA GAIDEN Black, with 2 new difficulty levels, one easier and one insanely tough. But to compensate for the easier difficulty, the developers ramped up how tough the other options were. NINGA GAIDEN is all about learning its combat system and fighting out a proper strategy for every enemy. The combat system thrives on combos. The more hits you make, the better you'll be and the more fun you'll have. It's also good to know that the higher the combos, the higher amount of in-game currencies you can get. Without combos, the game gets more difficult. Equally difficult is the game's platforming sequences. There are times where running on the walls is important, while the other times you have to be able to jump around the corners. If you don't break your controller purely out of rage, you might just break it by attempting to perform some of the combos. Number 9 on the list is CONTRA. The gameplay seems like your everyday run and gun platform, but once you begin playing, you quickly realize just how difficult this game for beginners is. You'll begin off with 3 lives. Every time an enemy attacks you, you can say goodbye to that life. You can continue forward as an additional 3 times before it's complete game over. With only 8 stages, this game asks you to be quick as you kill everything on the screen before it kills you. If you can pick up CONTRA and decide that you don't want to deal with the pain and the anguish, the developers allowed 2 players where you and a friend could attempt to save the world as Bill and Lance. Unlike other games on the list, the player is able to input some Konami codes before the title screen, in which it gives you an extra 30 lives. This does make the game exceptionally easier, meaning that only those gamers that can work past trial and error are able to see it through the end without using this cheat. Number 8 we have is Silver Surfer. When it comes to the 1990s NES games, Silver Surfer, based on the Marvel Comics character, was one of the few games that can be considered more unfair. When you boot up the game, you are given 5 options. Each option is a different stage that you play it in any sequence. You can think of Silver Surfers being like a road racing type game. Let's take an example like Road Rash. In other words, make sure you don't hit any obstacles as your character continuously moves. This game becomes unfair right from the beginning. Like CONTRA, there are one-hit kills. Like other titles such as Dead Cells, if you die you start from the beginning of the level. On the top of this, you are not allowed to touch anything on the screen. The walls, the ceiling, the floors, everything you touch is instant death, making this game extremely difficult. Number 7 we have on the list is Ghosts and Goblins. Capcom has created many incredible games, most known for Mega Man. It was in 1985 that Capcom released a game titled as Ghosts and Goblins. The idea of the game is simple. You play as a knight named Arthur who must rescue his princess with various medieval weapons. With 3 lives, you fight your way through random placed zombies, difficult bosses, and platforming that takes a lot of practice. If you get hit once, your armor is removed. Get hit twice and you are dead. With only 6 stages, this game sounds similar to the other NES games, but with some evil twist. Once you finish the 6th stage, you are forced to play through the entire game all over again. That's right, 6 more stages of horror awaits you before you can officially say that you have beaten this game, and this time they are more difficult than the first time. Got the statement from an IGN reviewer who said that playing Ghost and Goblin still makes him want to break something, as if breaking the controller itself is not enough. Number 6, we have Super Meat Boy. There is something about indie games and their nostalgia towards NES level gameplay. Developed by Team Meat that released in 2010, Super Meat Boy is about a cube of meat named Meat Boy. On his search to save his girlfriend, Bandage Girl, from the bad guy, Dr. Fetus. Honestly, it sounds so ridiculous, but what the game lacks in the story, it makes up in the gameplay. Just like the other platformers on the list, this particular platformer takes a lot of trial and error as you move your way through saw blades, hills of broken needles, and even hell itself. There is not much to say about this game except for the fact this is difficult and will have you explore through a piles of controllers just to figure out how to beat that next level. Number 5, we have Battletoads. Released in 1991, Rare's Battletoads for the NES caused many broken controllers and surely some migraines. Playing as either Rash or Zitz, you are given the option to play the game solo or have a friend to co-op with. If you choose solo, you are thrown onto the surface of a planet that leads you into a never-ending battle with dragons, psychopigs, and difficult platforming. Most players can get to at least level 3 before hitting a huge roadblock. But from the point on, the game's difficulty continues to drive people crazy with no promise of getting any easier. Even with the 2-player experience, this game was not easy. In fact, cooperation makes the game even more difficult because of its friendly fire game mechanics. If each player did not keep in mind of their surroundings, they may accidentally attack the other, causing the player to lose some of their life. Additionally, if one player died, both are sent back to the beginning of the level to try again. Holy shit, this is not gonna cause only breaking of controllers, but can cause also to break the friendship or with whomever you are playing with. Number 4 is I Wanna Be The Guy. In 2007, an indie developer released I Wanna Be The Guy, a free 8-bit style platformer that looks like any 8-bit games such as Mega Man and even Contra. What this developer did not realize that his creation would change the face of indie games forever. At this point in the indie game community, developers started to realize that they could create difficult games and people would still play them. In fact, many of the gamers playing these indie games were looking for experience that were full of nostalgia, and I Wanna Be The Guy gave them a tough as nails nostalgic roller coaster for anyone who was willing to ride. Search in any video game forum and you'll constantly come across I Wanna Be The Guy. It's said to be the toughest game ever made. While the title can be said for any game on this list, it is easy to see why this game is so difficult. It takes concentration and timings through every single enemy and obstacle. Like many of the games on this list, I Wanna Be The Guy has no mercy at all and will kill you repeatedly whether it's cheap shot or not. Number 3, we have The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. When you first begin playing the game, you'll realize that on the outside it looks easy. In fact, it only takes about 30 minutes to complete the game. Well, at least one variation of the game. Dig deeper into the game and you'll realize that this game is so much more than what it is on the surface. In the game, Isaac's mom takes Abraham's place when she is asked to sacrifice Isaac as a proof of her faith. The game then takes place in the basement of their home, where Isaac uses his tears as his weapons to defeat such horror as the 7 deadly sins. This game begins with 3 hearts, much like The Legend of Zelda, and forces the player to find items that will boost his health and upgrade his weapons. If you die, you have to begin all over with the new items in a brand new map. This roguelike experience gives each playthrough a unique spin. What makes this game even more difficult is that the fact it is a complete nightmare with 276 achievements in the original game and even more to be found in the DLC. Gamers are sure to break a controller or two when playing this game. Number 2, we have CUPHEAD. CUPHEAD, the challenging 2D platformer that made people break their controllers and sold around 2 million copies within a short time, has a reputation for being difficult. Not only this, but some people even called it Dark Souls of 2D shooters. Playing CUPHEAD is like a stage performance. Every mistake is embarrassing, but the curtain's call of each defeated boss is like nothing else. Number 1 on the list is Dark Souls. Ending the list with Dark Souls, known as the spiritual successor of Demon Souls. Dark Souls is equal to all those difficult NES games previously mentioned. Released in 2011 for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, known for its dungeon, exploring, fear-arising encounter of death. With an ambitious story, you are thrown into a world with undead enemies, massive bosses, and an environment that has no mercy. As an undead human yourself, you must venture into this world and make sure that you too have no mercy at all. Every enemy is there to kill you, every step in the game is difficult, and every time you die, you must try again. The game though has a co-op feature like other games on this list, though Dark Souls co-op is unique. You are given the ability in the game to summon another player to help you beat a certain boss or conquer a certain area in the game. This ability works in your favor and you should take this as an advantage. On the other end of the spectrum, the game player versus player mechanic allows the player under certain conditions to invade another player's game. This of course allows the player to act as an enemy in another player's world, thus adding another level of difficulty to the overall gameplay. Gamers breaking their controllers out of rage is such a tired stuff. Who can sacrifice to do that now, since the damn things cost as much as a new game? If you have a few favorite examples of your own to add, be sure to let me know down in the comment. Thank you for watching. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more future videos like these. Until then, peace.